Yes, and one of them includes the word stand. Stand your ground. I haven't seen the law on that, so I don't know what that means. And I think that that's why we have confusion. In a racial situation, in a world that's dominated by the system of white supremacy, confusion is the one thing that always works in the interest of the people who believe in the practice and the concept of white supremacy. So the first thing you have to get is clarity about the words that are used, because these are the basic tools, other than direct violence, of the white supremacists. So when a term like stand your ground shows up on the radar, first thing you want to know is exactly what does that mean, particularly when it's supposed to be a quote-unquote legal term. So you need clarity on that. I do not have clarity on that. That's the first thing I would have to have if I'm going to really talk about the Trayvon Martin case in a clear and focused manner, in the interest of trying to produce a product called justice, because that's the whole reason that anybody should be doing anything. That's the whole reason for breathing, is to try to produce a product called justice, because that's the one thing that's really missing on this planet. You can't even get love without justice. No, that's not the only one, but that's the one that I would start with. I would have to find out exactly. It seems like that's still vague. Somewhere in the picture, it keeps popping up. Well, this whole thing started with the stand your ground law. Oh, many terms, but they flow from the stand your ground phrase. Self-defense, permit to carry a weapon, the gated community. I don't know. Well, it's created confusion simply because I don't know what a gated community is. And if you're talking about gated, you're talking about a gate, I guess, and a gate in order to do what? And what part of the community is gated, and what part of the non-community is not gated, and for what reasons? And gated against or for or with or by whom? In order to do what? And in order to accomplish what and how to accomplish it? By standing your ground in a gated community? Well, now, Mr. Trayvon Martin possibly could be said to be standing his ground in a gated community, depending on does the gated community apply to him, and if so, in what way? Where is the gate for him? Where is the gate against him? Where is the gate for him? Who is supposed to be gated? G-A-T-E-D. Who's gated and who's not gated? Who are the gated people and who are the non-gated people? And according to what? What criteria? And looking suspicious. The word says suspicious. Well, now, I have said in my textbook that any white person who is able to be a racist probably is one. That's why I've said specifically that a person should never say that a white person is a racist. Because in a system of racism, you have to prove it by someone, most likely, who is a racist. So what you do is use a compensatory term saying suspected racist. So any white person who is able, underline able, to be a racist should be suspected of being one, logically speaking, in a system of racism. Now, of course, if someone says, well, there's no such thing as a system of racism, well, then that wouldn't apply. But I'm saying that the entire planet is under the system, the government of white supremacy. That's the only government on the planet. All other so-called governments do not exist. So you can't have what you call sub-governments in an overall government, because the overall government would be just any so-called sub-governments would just be part and parcel of the overall government. So if the principal, the primary government, is in capital letters, the government of white supremacy, I prefer to call it the system of white supremacy, then everything that goes on is in the system of white supremacy, and the white supremacists are always to blame for anything that happens in that system.